Hey everybody, this is Antoine Dupont and I'm super excited to be here and thank you so much for selecting this session. So we're going to talk about YouTube, the latest hacks for organic growth. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter or on Instagram at adupont65. Now, a couple of things before we start. Actually, just one thing. I was born and raised in Paris, France. So I have a tendency once in a while to put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. So if I do that, don't be alarmed. It's normal. I'm just French. So picture this. About 4 years ago, I'm in my minivan and the clock is off by an hour, like daylight savings time. And I don't know how it is in your car, but in my car, you need an engineering degree to change the clock, right? It's just you have to press 3 buttons and do all this stuff. So it's a pain. So I get the manual out of the glove compartment, learn how to do it, and shoot a video, which is what you're looking at right now, right? 31-second beauty of me changing the clock. And I upload that video on YouTube because I don't want to store it in my phone. And I'm like, I'll need that probably 6 months from now when it's time to change the clock. 6 months later, I checked the video and I got 38,000. Sorry about that. It took me a second here. 38,000 views on that video. And I was completely floored. Now, you want to get that at the time, I had created maybe a dozen videos, and maybe the most views I'd gotten on the video was like 37 views. So when I was doing it on purpose, I was not getting any views. And when I did it by accident, it blew up. And on top of that, I had 24 comments. Like people were really enjoying the video, what I'd created. So I was like, okay, how did that happen? What triggered the algorithm that it made that video work? And then when I did it on purpose, it didn't work. I wanted to figure this out. Like I had to, right? So I went on the quest and I created since then over 350 video. In the last 12 months, I got 1 million views on my channel. So I figured out a few things that I'm going to share with you. The first one is a common misconception that people have with YouTube. So the first misconception is that it's all about the subscribers. And it's not. It's not about the subscribers. It's really about understanding your audience, right? So it's not a contest of who has the most subscribers. It's a contest of who understands their audience the best, right? Or who understands the algorithm the best. So here's a couple of things about the algorithm of YouTube, because a lot of things have been written about it, but let me break it down to you into two things, right? The first thing is YouTube is trying to predict what you will enjoy, right? That's its first thing. And then the second thing, it wants to keep you on the platform longer. Right? So two things. It wants to predict what you will enjoy, and then it wants to keep you on the platform as long as possible. Doesn't want you to go on Facebook. Doesn't want you to go on Instagram. It doesn't want you to do anything but stay on the platform, right? So this is what the algorithm of YouTube does. So now I'm going to share some fundamentals, and there is actually 7 of them, 7 fundamentals of YouTube to grow organically. And so let's start with the first one. And the first one is identify your audience. How to identify your audience and how to understand the audience. Like, who are those people? Like, what are those people? But specifically what we want to know is what do they want and what do they like? So I'm going to get granular with you, right? I'm going to share something that I do, because if you want to create some content on YouTube, you need to understand who is it, who are they, what do they like, what do they want? So here's one of the things that I do, right? So it's a technique. I will go and look at a creator on YouTube, as in like this guy, Malcolm Lawson, which by the way is growing very rapidly on YouTube. So I would have you check it out, right? So just take a look at his channel, and then go in the videos tab. Right? Then you go on this channel, you go in the videos tab. And when you get in the videos tab, you want to click on the sort by, right? And what you want to sort by most popular. It is going to show you a screen with the most popular videos on that channel. And then you will have in this screen here, we have 12 videos that are the most popular on this channel. Now, here is the thing that I'm looking at, right? And the reason why I've highlighted those two windows in green is because these are his most recent and most popular videos. So what that tells me is that um, the audience that is interested in real estate content actually likes those two videos, and they most likely want content like this. Do you remember the question was what is it that they like and what is it that they want? Well, right now we have our answer. This is what they like because these are the most popular videos. And if we want to know what's actually recently very current and very relevant, those two in greens. If you created a video that was similar in theme, I didn't say to copy Malcolm. That's not what it's about. But obviously, he has one of the videos there. It's talking about the housing crash of 2021. This is content that people want to know, right? So this is very granular here, and then hopefully you're getting some value there. The second thing that I do is I read the comments. You have to spend time reading the comments. The comments on other people's video are a treasure trove of information for you. Like literally, I would block on my calendar every day, go and read for 15, 20 minutes, go and read the comments on very popular YouTube channel. All right, the second fundamental is doing some content research, right? So what I mean by content research is, like researching the types of content that people may be looking for when they're searching for videos, right? So one of the tools that I use is a tool called SEM Rush. And inside of SEM Rush is a feature called the keyword magic tool. And what it does is once you put in a keyword, in this case, buying a house or selling a house, right? So this one I used selling a house. It will give you all the questions that people are asking around that keyword on the internet. Now, let me say that again slowly, right? If you put in the keyword sell house or selling a house, SEM Rush will tell you all the questions that people are asking on the internet around that keyword, right? So you remember, like we were saying in the first thing, is like, what do they want? What do they like? This is what they want. These are the questions that people are asking. The only issue with SEM Rush is it's not free. It's $99 a month. So if you like free stuff like I do, let me show you the second version of that, a tool that does the same thing, but does it for the whopping price of free. And it's called answerthepublic.com. And what it does is the same thing. You put in your keyword, and then it gives you a big flower with all the results of your query, and you can zoom in. Like, let's zoom in and let's look at what people are asking. So this is around buying a house, right? So one of the people are asking, one of their questions is how long buying house process. Yeah, they don't speak English. They're like me. They're making it up as they go along, right? But this is the question that people are asking. They're actively, if you want to know what kind of video should I create on YouTube, this one. You should be creating this one because this is the question that people are asking. And then you take that question and you go and paste it in YouTube, and then you look for how many videos are answering that question. So take a look here. The answer is 0. None of them. Not a single video. It's close, it's similar, but it's not the answer to that question, right? So if you created a video answering that question and calling that video that question, how long does the buying house process take? You can actually write it in proper English. Then what is going to happen to your video? Yeah, it's going to rank. And you should be right now going like, oh my God, yes, it's actually that easy. There's tons of questions that people are asking on the internet that need an answer, and it needs you to create that video. If you want to rank on Google, that's one of the great way to do it. Let's go to the next one, which is the TubeBuddy, which is a tool that I use. So for content research, there's a tool called TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy. This is an amazing tool that I use to get all my research. There's another tool called vidIQ, which is similar. Personally, I love TubeBuddy because it gives me everything that I do, but it gives me the intelligence that I need to have to make the proper decision. Okay. All right, let's move on to the third fundamental of growing on YouTube, which is the traffic sources, right? We need to understand where the traffic is coming from to your videos. It's super important with YouTube, right? So here are the main areas that it's coming from. It's coming from browse, it's coming from suggested, it's coming from search, and it's coming from external. So let me explain to you what browse is, right? Browse is when people are just looking at their phone or on their desktop and they're just looking at the main page and they're scrolling through videos. That is browse. So that's people discovering you on the browse page. Suggested is when your video is suggested after the video that they've watched. You know, you've watched the video and then YouTube will suggest the next video to watch. Search is when people are searching for a specific keyword, right? How long buying house process, find, right? That's search. And then the last one is external. It's traffic coming from the outside. So now let me show you how that looks like. That's the reality of YouTube. Overall, the entire platform of YouTube is exactly like that. 75% of all the traffic on YouTube is coming from browse and suggested, right? So people browsing the channel and then people having the next video suggested. 75% of all views. Only 15% of the views is coming from search. And then 10% is other. And then other in there is external. For my personal channel, external traffic to my YouTube channel is less than 4%, which means that it's not really something that I look at, right? And by the way, half of that external search is Google, people looking on Google search and finding my videos. So for me, what I focus on is I focus on primarily on suggested and browse and search, which is basically what we've been talking about so far. Like the first 2 points was about search, and now we're looking about suggested and browse, which is really, if you want your channel to explode, you need to pay attention right then and there. So if you look in your analytics in the back end, this is what it's going to look like. You're looking for a specific video, and then you're going to be searching for what is the traffic source. And then what you want to see is you want to see results like that, right? So 61% of the search on this video of the traffic source is coming from suggested and 12.9% from browse. This is awesome. And YouTube search, 12.9%. I'm nailing it. But what you want here, you want to make sure that your suggested is at least above 50%. Right? You may not. You want to go and take a look at it right now, if you have videos on YouTube. And what is your percentage of traffic source coming from suggested, right? If it's below 50%, we have some work. So how do we do that? How do we actually get our videos to be suggested or come up in the browse, right? Which should be your question. Okay, great, Antoine. I got it. 75% of traffic, I'm in. How do I do this? Well, here it is. It's the formula. Number one, you need a decent video with good content. Now, did I say that your video needed to be amazing and that the content needed to be extraordinary? No. I said it needs to be a decent video with good content. It doesn't have to be extraordinary. Just a decent video with good content is sufficient. Number two, you need a great SEO title. The SEO needs to be optimized for search, right? So YouTube, after being a video library, is the second largest search engine in the world, right? After Google. So we want to make sure that our titles is SEO'd as much as possible. Like I see people like, for example, the worst idea for me as a video would be Antoine Dupont, episode number 2, and then the title. Nobody cares about Antoine Dupont episode number 2. That has zero value in SEO, right? How long buying house process. That is a question that people are asking for. How long does it take to buy a house? That's the kind of question that you want to have in your title SEO. All right, third, you need a kick-ass thumbnail. You absolutely need a great thumbnail. We're going to talk more about that. Those are great thumbnails. You see the simplicity, great smile, great eye contact. You can see the emotion, big words that actually are readable on your phone. That's a great thumbnail. And then the fourth thing, it's a great description and great tags. Description is below your video. Again, YouTube is a search engine, right? So you want to make sure that you have word and content in your description. Sometimes I see descriptions with, for more information, please call me. And I'm like, no, you got 5,000, I think it's 5 or 10,000 characters that you can put in that description. Use it. Put contact information, put links, put information about you. One thing that I need to say about tags, I'm seeing a lot of this. People using tags like this. Hashtag Gary V, hashtag realtor, hashtag Tim Ferriss. That's not a good idea. Not at all. Right? It's really the last thing you would want to do because it doesn't make really any sense. What you want to do is you want to have tags that are descriptive and that helps the search engine figuring out who should I serve this video to, right? I mean, obviously, if you do talk about Tim Ferriss or Gary Vee in your video, sure, why not? But you're not helping the search engine by trying to tag yourself after famous people. It doesn't work. It's not going to work now, and it's not going to work in the future. So don't do that. All right. What you want is you want to be suggested after those people. And do you know any of those people? By the way, if you know any of those people, put it in the comments, right? Just to see. But the chances are is most of you don't know those people. And yet those people have channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They're very good people on YouTube. So you want to make sure that you're suggested after. And again, it's not important who it is after. It's more important that it's suggested after people that have popular channels. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the fourth fundamental of YouTube and to grow organically. And it's about audience retention. It's about how long do people stay on your video once they click on it. Like the audience retention is extremely important. And again, if you go in the back end of YouTube, it will give you a graph and you'll be able to see exactly how people stayed on your video and specifically how long they stayed on the video. And here you can say that people have stayed on a 14-minute and 55-second. They stayed an average of 7 minutes and 33 seconds, which is 50.6%. Right. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for, my goal is I want to have a 50% retention. That's my goal. I want people to stay at least for 50%. But there's something really amazing that TubeBuddy did. They did a study on thousands of videos and got an average on the length of the video. So this is, let me put it in context here. This is an average, right? So you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's not written in stone, and this is not the law, right? This is just an average. So you want to know that this is taken based on thousands of video that may be completely irrelevant to what you do. So again, use it as a grain, as just a rule, but take it with a grain of salt. So if your video is 20 minutes, you should expect a minimum of 33%. 10-minute, 40%, 5-minute, 47%, and 2-minute video on average will get 59%. So now you can use that to compare to your video how you're doing compared to the average. Again, bear in mind that for me, my minimum bar is 50%, regardless of the length of the video. That's my own bar, right? But at least you can have your averages and your retention based on a larger group so you can get a sense of that. All right, let's go to the fifth element of YouTube to grow organically on YouTube. And it's impressions versus CTR. And CTR stands for click-through rate. Right, so let's look at this. This is one of the most amazing graph that YouTube makes available to you because it tells you everything you need to know about your video and how it's performing. So first of all, impressions. Let's talk about what an impression is. An impression is YouTube saying, I am going to take your video and I'm going to show it to people either in browse, either in suggested, or either in search results. But I am going to serve that video, which is an impression, right? Which means that you've noticed that when you're in your feed, you're looking at videos, there's some videos that you click on and you watch, and there's plenty of them that you scroll back. But each video that you scroll by, that was an impression. You saw it, right? And then it goes to the next thing that you need to look. It's the click-through rate, the CTR, the percentage of people that clicked on that video, right? So it's going to give you an impressions, and then it's the CTR. And then the last one, which will result in the total number of views that you've got, right? So it's impression multiplied by the click-through rate, which will give you your total number of views. And the little arrow on the left is the total number of those impressions coming from YouTube suggesting your videos. So again, this tells you everything. That graph here will tell you, yeah, this is a healthy video, or wow, this is not a healthy video. I shouldn't waste my time on it, right? All right, so how do you do that? How do you impact the impressions and the CTR? So how do I get more impressions, right? Where if you want more impressions, you need to increase your retention. Remember what we said at the beginning. YouTube wants to keep you on the platform longer. Wants you to stay there as long as possible, right? The average person in the world will spend 1 hour a day on YouTube. That's the math, right? So what they want to do is, well, can we make this an hour and a half? Can we increase it a little bit, right? And how do you do that? Well, you look at the entire library of content that you have as YouTube, and then you're going to serve to people the videos that have the highest retention. That's it, right? So if you want more impressions, increase your retention and try to get people to watch more than one video. So we're going back full circle right there, right? And how do we do better CTR? How do we increase our click-through rate, right? Well, an awesome thumbnail and a great SEO title will do that. You want to increase your click-through rate, right? Because you remember the number we looked at, there was over 600,000 impressions and only 3.5% CTR. That's upsetting. Well, what if that CTR was 5 or 8 or 10%? That would be a lot more views, right? Right? So here's the goal for CTR, by the way. The goal for click-through rate is from 2 to 3%, it's bad. From 3 to 5%, it's okay. From 5 to 8%, it's great or it's best. Now, again, this is an average. You have to take it with a grain of salt. This is not the truth. And your situation and your demographic for what you do may be different. But this is a rule of thumb. For a lot of people, this is going to ring true, right? Now, bear in mind, I know some people get a much higher CTR on their thumbnails, and good for you. But I would say for a lot of people that are inside the educational space, which is, creating videos, answering questions that people are asking for, this is going to ring true for a lot of you. All right, let's move on to the sixth one, which is the preparation and scripting. Now, what I recommend for preparation and scripting is to use the POP method, which is my method. And POP stands for problem, outcome, promise. You need to start your video with the POP method. The second thing is you need to write a script. There's nobody that is successful on YouTube that doesn't write the script. Everybody write the script, at least an outline, at least bullets, right? But you're writing a script. So the first thing is, what is the idea? How long does the buying house process take, right? So what would be the 5 points that I want to make? You want to write down what are the ideas, right? Because you don't want to go behind the camera and start like, okay, I'm going to come up with. That doesn't work like that. You need to be prepared. And you need to rehearse. You need to rehearse your videos. Now, if you want a copy of my script, you can text me at 561-285-2967, and I'm going to send you a copy of my script template for free. right? Which is basically what you're looking on the right. So it's got to be my template plus a blank sheet so you can actually write your own, and then you can make a copy of it and use it as much as you want. All right, let's move on to the seventh fundamental of video marketing. And it's the problem that I run into all the time when I talk to people about YouTube. The first thing that people push back on is, I don't have the time. I am way too busy. I have, like, I have kids, I have a family, and I have a business. I mean, I have way too much things on my plate. I don't have the time. And I get it. It's fair. The second thing is, I don't know how, which is, well, you came to this presentation and hopefully you've learned a few things about YouTube, but it's a fair thing. But the third one, which is the most prevalent, and it's the one that is across all people, all industries, all age, all gender, is, I don't like the way I sound and I don't like the way I look. Yeah, I'm putting a little pause there because I know a lot of you are like, oh crap, is he talking to me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Um, because you think I'm talking to you because that's your situation. But guess what? It's all of us. I have not met a person yet that liked the way they sound and like the way they look. They don't. I mean, for me, for example, I think that I sound and look like George Clooney. I really do. I think that I'm that good looking, but I look at my videos and I'm like, man, that's more like Uncle Fester, right? But here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're beautiful the way you are, and you're beautiful the way you sound. Just know that actually it's a competitive advantage. And why that's a competitive advantage? It's because it's universal. Every single person that does video hate the way they look and hate the way they sound. But now you know that. And the difference between you and the other people is the other people are going to be stopped by it, and you're not. All right. So I'm going to give you now the formula for organic growth. You ready? Because this is the truth. This is it. This is how it works. This is the secret. There you are. All right. You ready? All right. Let's go. This is the secret for organic growth. And it starts in the upper left-hand corner with a decent video with good content. The second thing is, you need to have an amazing thumbnail. It needs to be an amazing thumbnail. The video is good. It doesn't have to be amazing. It has to be good. But the thumbnail has to be an amazing thumbnail. The third thing that you need, which is below, which is an SEO title. Your title needs to be optimized for SEO. It needs to be optimized for search engine. And the last piece of the puzzle, you need to analyze the data. You need to spend the time to looking at your retention, your impressions, your click-through rates, and how many videos they're watching, and rinse, repeat. And if your first video tanks, welcome to the club. All of us had videos that tanks, but what you need to do now that you know what you look for is, you need to pay attention to the data and just adjust the dial. What if we took that thumbnail from 3.0 CTR to 5.0? What if we increased our retention from 45% to 55%? What could we do? Could we accelerate the pace? Can I make my intros a little bit more fun? Can we increase the retention? Because all these elements will have your videos being viewed by more people, and this is how channels explode. All right, it's been an honor speaking with you and making this presentation. I wish you the best of luck for 2021. Ciao.